Y'all, so today's topic we are going to be talking about the beauty of community. And I am Siobhan, your community cultivator, and I believe that every single woman deserves to be free and fulfilled in her life. And I teach women how to get unstuck and how to truly flourish and grow to become the best versions of themselves. And I do this amazing work inside the Be Free Inner Circle, which is my membership space where like-minded women all over the world are doing the personal growth work and finding their forever friends. Also, I have a podcast called the Be Free Project Podcast. And then also I am a speaker. And so you can learn all of the things about me at BeFreeProject.com. All right, y'all. Hello. Happiest Friday to you. I'm excited to be back. I'm full of so much energy. Took a little bit of a break last week, but I am back with you. And this, let me tell y'all, I'm ready. I am on fire. My energy is like high. Y'all about to get all of this. So what I need you to first do is hit the little arrow at the bottom and share this live with your friends and invite more and more people to come on here with us. Also, as I am chatting and I am talking with you, I love engagement because this is a community thing, right? And so you can always double tap the screen to show your love and your support. And then also you can engage with me by adding, commenting in the comment section, and then also asking your questions in the Q&A when we have our Q&A. So this is going to be a great conversation. And again, I am on a high. I'm going to start off by saying yesterday I announced that the Be Free Meetup Sip and Grow tickets went on sale this past Thursday exclusively to the members of the Be Free Inner Circle because they get priority, and then open to the public as of yesterday. And guess what? I am almost halfway close to my goal of being sold out, which I am going to sell out. Just already know that. And so when I'm looking at the ticket sales now, I'm like, oh my God, you're almost halfway there. Y'all don't even know. First of all, events in person is my thing. Like I love meeting you guys in person, connecting, teaching, all of the things. And so because of the pandemic, obviously I haven't had an opportunity to do that. And so my community kept asking, when are you going to have an in-person event? I'm like, do y'all really want it? Are y'all ready? Can we do that? Social distancing, all of the things. And they're like, yes. And so I'm so happy that I decided to move forward on it because so for the Be Free Inner Circle, the tickets went on sale Thursday at midnight. So many members purchased tickets right away. And they are coming from Philly, New Jersey, Atlanta, Chicago, Alabama, and it was one other place. And I'm like, y'all not playing. They put their money where their mouth was, right? So I'm excited. Tickets are available. You can go to befreemeetup.eventbrite.com, excuse me, and you can find the link in my show notes, and it's also in the title of this video. So again, don't sleep on me. Y'all need to come. Y'all need to be there. I don't care where you're at. Fly in. And if you're in Cleveland, obviously you can drive right over to where we're going to be. But it is going to be amazing. And let me just kind of talk about it before I get into today's topic. The Be Free Meetup Sip and Grow is basically where we have meaningful conversations and you make meaningful connections with other women who are positive and they're like-minded. And when I tell you, meeting me in person, like if y'all love me on here, and this is what I keep saying in the Be Free Inner Circle, I'm on a whole nother level when I'm in person. It's just something about being able to be with people in real life that just lights my soul on fire. And so our conversation for this particular event is going to be all around friendship. And the reason why I want to have a conversation around it, because so many of you guys have been sharing your friendship stories with me, whether you went through a friendship breakup or you're outgrowing a friend or you're trying to make new friends as an adult and you're trying to find your way as you're on your personal growth journey. And I said, oh, that's going to be a perfect topic to cover in person. So we're going to have light bites to eat. We're going to have wine and non-alcoholic beverages. It is going to be an amazing experience. So make sure you go get your ticket today before I sell out, because that's totally going to happen. All right. So today I want to talk about the beauty of community. And if you listen to my podcast from last week, I shared how I was in the car with my daughter and I was going to drop her off at work. And as she had her earbuds in, and something came over me like the beauty of community. And so I had all of these inspired thoughts, and I'm like, oh, this is good. I need to record this. So whenever I have ideas in the moment and I'm driving or something, I will use my voice note app on my phone and just start recording myself because it was that good. And as I was expressing myself, because I'm like, oh, I'm totally going to do a podcast on this, I started talking to my daughter and I was asking her, what are your thoughts around community? What are your thoughts around friendship? And she has been homeschooled for 5 years. So this year was her first year back in school since being homeschooled. And she started high school this year. And it was academically, she did really well. As far as like friendships, that was a little icky because it's an adjustment, right? Being homeschooled and then going back into a traditional school, and not only a traditional school, but a private school. And so it was a transition for her to find her friend group, and she wasn't able to do that in the way that she had desired. However, fast forward to maybe last month, actually, she went to this summer program at the Cleveland Institute of Art. She's an artist, a very, very, very talented artist. And while she was there, of course, she found her community. She found her group. She found her friends. And as we were talking about that, I said, well, let's kind of talk about like how the difference between being in a school setting, but then also being in this program where everyone has similar interests and everyone is on the same page as you as it relates to being an artist. And she expressed herself. And I recorded the conversation so y'all can hear it in full detail on the podcast. But she was saying how, artists are weird, artists are quirky. And she felt when she was in this particular program, like she felt like she was at home, and she was like, it's so important to be in a community of like-minded people, in a community where you feel safe, where you feel like you can express yourself, where you feel like people are not going to judge you. And she was like, the friends that I made there, I know that they're going to be friends for a lifetime because of the connections that we made. And as we were talking, I'm like, this is so good. And then she goes on to say how, and I'm like, okay, we're getting deep here, but I'm like, she's her mother's daughter. But she was talking about how, you only live once. And she was like, why not make the most of this experience that we have while we're still breathing? And she was like, I want to be around amazing people. I want to be around people who feel good. And so just hearing her say that, I'm like, you know what? I am doing a great job. I just have to say that. So if you want to hear that conversation, definitely go and listen to the podcast. But I wanted to bring it here because community is so important. And yes, I'm a community cultivator. I live, breathe, all of that. Like, I believe that there's so much power in the circle that you decide to be in. And I will keep talking about this quote until I'm blue in the face, by Rachel Rodgers, that says 95% of your success or your failure can be predicted based on the people that you spend the most time with. So when you think of the people that are in your community, the people that are in your circle, the people that you are spending time with, are they adding value to your life? Do you feel whole? Do you feel complete? Do you feel valued? Do you feel like you can be your most authentic self? Because many of us can probably relate, and I'll just say for me, where there have been friendship groups or friend relationships that I've been a part of where I could not be my most authentic self. And that was only hurting me, not the other person, but it was actually hurting me because I wasn't able to be myself, because it wasn't the right community, right? It wasn't the right friendships for me. And so let me drink some water here before I get into it. So I want to say this too, like when you think about the pandemic, and this is why I'm so excited about having this in-person event, because I'm like, I'm just going to hug on all of the people, right? But the pandemic has caused us to be even more isolated, and there's so many people right now who are lonely, right? And yes, I get the feedback where I'm an introvert, but even introverts want to belong with other people. Just because you like to be to yourself doesn't mean you don't want to be connected with others. However, with the pandemic, people have gotten even more isolated in loneliness, right? Because they don't have the right community around them. And I know without question, like, just being a human being, there's a natural desire to belong, a natural desire to connect with people who feel good to your soul. And so when I talk about the Be Free Inner Circle, that is one of the things that I highlight. Like, you want to be around like-minded women who are not only doing their work, but then also they feel good. And this is why you have to find the right community for you, the community that will wrap their arms around you so you don't have to feel lonely, so you're not doing this journey all on your own. And let me know if y'all are picking up what I am putting down. And then also let me know, do you feel like you are a part of a community that supports your growth? Right? Like, are you a part, whether it's your friendship community, maybe you do yoga, maybe you do what am I thinking? My mind has just went blank on the different communities that there are. But let me know, number one, are you a part of a community that you feel valued in, right? Like, do you, or I'm asking so many questions. I'm like, all of these things are running through my mind. This is all the excitement that I have because I am with my event. Like, my mind is like, ooh, I'm so excited. And I'm excited about all you ladies that are coming on. Welcome, welcome, welcome. You're just hopping on. Excuse me. We are talking about the beauty of community. So my number one question, this is what I want to ask. Are you a part of a community that you feel valued in? Right? Are you a part of a community that you feel valued in? I believe that it's important that you are in spaces where you can grow, where you can flourish, where you can be transparent, where you can really be vulnerable and like share your truth and know that in this community space or in your friendship group that you're not going to be judged just for being yourself. And there's been so many people who have reached out to me that have said how they, oh, you know what, this is a perfect example. I was on someone is hiring me to speak for this event here in Cleveland, and and this has never ever happened before, what I'm about to share with you right now. So we're on the call, and so she wants to know more about Be Free Project and me and all of those things or whatever. And we're doing a Zoom call. And so as we're talking, I was like, I talk a lot about community, a lot about friendship. I said I went through a friendship breakup. It shifted everything. Do you know she started crying? And I'm like, whoa, what is happening? This has never happened before. She was like, I'm in the process right now of going through a friendship breakup, and I've never heard anyone talk about it before. And she was like, and it's really hurtful. And so everything that you're sharing right now is really hitting me. And it was hard for her to stop crying. I'm like, it's okay. And I'm like, the reason that I talk so much about the value of community, the benefits of being a part of a community and having amazing friends in your life is because so often there's so many women that don't have these types of relationships, or you're going through a friendship breakup and you feel like there's something wrong with you. And that was what she was saying. She was like, I feel bad for grieving. And I'm like, no, that's a part of the process. You've had this friendship for a significant amount of time. Yes, it hurts. So I'm in this whole mode of going into coaching or whatever because she was crying and she was like, and I literally just had a conversation like, it's time to end this relationship. And so I'm sharing that to say that many of us go through shifts in our life where we outgrow the friends that used to feel good, and now that you're in a different place, you're growing in whatever way that you're growing, and that relationship no longer serves you. However, if you are not, you may feel like something is wrong with you, or you may feel weird or what have you when you're grieving something because you don't know that it's okay. And we hear so often, like when you're in a romantic relationship, like there's so much content on the internet, magazines, everything that supports a breakup in a romantic way. But when it comes to friendships, you don't hear anyone talk about that. And so I understood why she was crying, because it was new information, and I made space for her in that moment. Now, we were able to proceed with the call and move forward about me speaking at this event or what have you. But I was just like, wow, we need to talk about this more. And so this is why, at the Be Free Meetup Sip and Grow on September 18th, why we're going to be talking about friendship. Because I believe that I keep going to my heart, but I believe that everyone should have amazing friends. And I do think that it's possible to have great friends and build these relationships as an adult. Right? It is possible. Like even my newer friendships, they started happening last year, right? And I'm a full adult, and these are the most amazing women ever. So we're going to be having that conversation at the Be Free Meetup Sip and Grow. And again, as it relates to community and why you need to find your space, because you want somewhere where you feel safe, right? A place, a community of friends or what have you, where you can grow, where you can flourish, where you can become the best version of yourself. And you want to be around your people. And so I am someone who loves music, right? So I love to have conversations about music, or there's certain things many different things that I like. And so many of my friends, they share similar interests. But again, I'm in a different place and I'm constantly growing. And so I'm making sure that I'm connected with people that I can grow with, right? And that accept me just for me. And so my question for you is, are you in a friendship or a relationship that you feel like you've outgrown, And Hello, everyone. Hello. Yeah, are you in a friendship or relationship that you feel like you've outgrown? And I think it's important that we talk about that because I feel like so many women in particular are dealing with friendships and like feeling lonely, and they're dealing with it on their own, and they feel like something is wrong with them, and that's not the case. You just have to find the right community, the right people to be around that will support you where you're at. Okay, so Angel says you are in a friendship that you feel like you've outgrown. How does that make you feel? I'm feeling amazing, y'all. Like, I am like, ooh, it's a good day. Yes, let's talk about it. How does that make you feel that you're in a friendship that you feel like you have outgrown, right? Oh, and you're going to be at the Be Free you're in the Be Free Inner Circle. You're going to be at the Be Free meetup, which I'm really, really excited about that. Confused, yeah. And tell me, why do you feel confused? And how long is the friendship? Because the lady that I was talking to the other day for this event, I think the friendship was like over 20 years, if I'm not mistaken. And what I'm realizing is that the longer the friendship, like the longer the time that you've been in a friendship, the harder it is to walk away from it. Because you feel like, oh, but we've been friends for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. Oh, I just have to stick in it. And that's not the case. That's not the case at all. Again, you outgrow people. And I was reading inside of, what am I reading? The Acts of Faith by Ayanna Van Zandt, and how she talks about how you have friends in your life for a season, she talked about relationships that you have for a reason, a season, and a lifetime. And if y'all don't have that book, I highly, highly, highly recommend it. I post it in my stories often. And the way that she broke it down, it was like, this makes sense. And so when you understand that everybody is not going to be in your life forever, right? They're not going to be in your life forever. And then knowing that it can help you move through things with a little bit more ease, I would say. You said the friendship about 10 years and it's two different people. Yeah. So what I would recommend, I understand that you're confused by it. I did this week's episode of my podcast is called, what did I call it? 15 questions to ask yourself when evaluating your friendships. And I'm going to do a whole live on this as well. But what I recommend is that you listen to that particular episode, and there's certain questions that you can ask to take inventory on your friendship. And with doing that, then you can say, okay, once you do your, journal and write down all the questions or what have you, and you evaluate the friendship, you can see, is this friendship good for me? And when you answer these questions in a very honest way, do I need to move on? And if you honestly feel like you've outgrown it, then you have to ask yourself, well, what are you holding on to? Are you holding on to the years, right? Are you holding on to, the years just because y'all been friends for so long? Like, what is it that's keeping you in this relationship, especially if you feel confused by it, right? Like, what is the reason that you want to stick in it? And especially when it's two different people, because that's energy, y'all. Energy is everything. And I don't know if I said this on a podcast or where I said it, because I talk in so many different places, but I don't let everybody get my energy. I protect my energy at all costs, right? And everybody cannot spend time with me. And so if I feel like in this particular relationship or in this friendship that I am feeling drained, or there's some negative feelings around that relationship, I got to check myself. It's not about the other person. It's about me, right? And so again, my energy is everything. And I just believe that if I am in a relationship or a friendship that is not serving me, I am the one that has to do something about it. And I will never encourage anyone to just cut someone off. But again, definitely listen to this week's episode so you can evaluate your friendships for yourself and ask yourself these very important questions that will support you on making the next choice or the decision that you need to make. But if you're feeling confused and you're feeling hurt and all these other emotions that are coming up, that's your inner work that you have to do, right? And that is what I highly, highly, highly recommend. Yeah, peace is priceless. Listen, my peace is everything. And I talk about my amazing, great friends all of the time. I talk about them all the time because they feel like home to me. And they feel like it's very refreshing. And then I remember in other relationships or other friendships or what have you, where it didn't feel like that, where there was this constant struggle. And what I now know most importantly is that I wasn't being my most authentic self. Now, I didn't know that at the time, but and y'all have heard me talk about this space where I'm becoming more of myself. And as I become more of myself, I am growing. And you want friends around you that will honor your growth, right? And they will accept your growth versus judge it and say, oh, you're acting different or you're acting funny, I don't want to be around you, or whatever statement that they make. Listen, no. Those are not the type of people that you want around you. So all that to say, community is very, very, very necessary. I don't want anyone to feel isolated and to feel lonely. Like, you want to find your people that feel good to your soul. And many of the members of the Be Free Inner Circle are on here. Hey, y'all. And that is something that we talk about inside the community all the time. And it's designed for them to feel connected and find their forever friends and be around like-minded women. And I'm grateful for the community, but I'm also grateful for the communities that I have outside of the one that I've created, where I know my soul is, not my soul, but I know that I am being fed, if you will. So I want to, so these are my couple of tips that I want to share with you that you can jot down. Did I tell y'all in the beginning to make sure y'all have your notebooks out and your pens so that you can take notes on what I'm sharing today? Always, whether I say it or not, sometimes I forget, but always have your notebooks ready, because I'm always going to be dropping all of the gems. And so I want you to write that down, because I'll continue to say, I never want you to come on here for an emotional high just to feel good. I mean, this is your time. I value my time and I also value yours. So what can you get out of this? What can you take away? So then that way you are not just sitting here listening, but you're actually applying what you're learning, especially if it resonates with you. So number one is, I want you to find a space where you feel safe to do your personal growth work. Personal growth is extremely important, right? Growing in every single area of your life is essential. And when I'm talking about your emotional health, your mental, your spiritual, all of that, like, we are all on a personal growth journey, right? And so you want to find spaces where it's safe to do your work, right? Whatever your own personal work is, right? And it's okay to be in many different communities, but you want to be surrounded by like-minded people that, again, you can be your most authentic self. You would be surprised at how many people, and I'm saying this because this was me, so that's why I know that what I'm about to say is true, because 9 times out of 10, when I know something is about me, I'm sure other people can relate. But you'll be surprised at how many women are pretending in their friendships, right? How they're showing up one way with this group of friends, and then they're showing up different with another group of friends. And so they have to keep performing, almost like a puppet, right? That does not feel good. I know that to be true because that was me. And I didn't know it. It wasn't like a conscious thought, like you're pretending. It wasn't like that. But now that I am on the other side of like doing this work that I'm doing, I'm like, oh, you didn't express yourself clearly, or you didn't show up in your most authentic way because of these reasons, right? And now that I'm on the outside of certain friendships, I'm like, you didn't love yourself enough. And that's hard to say out loud. That's hard. But if I loved myself so much in that season of my life, then I would have been able to be myself. And because I wasn't able to be my full self, there was a lack of self-love. And I had to learn that through grieving the friendship and all these other things or whatever. There was one other thing that I wanted to share with you about and this is what I talked about on the podcast, and I believe this to be true, that every single person wants to be connected. They want to be connected to something bigger than themselves, right? So this is why people go hard for Peloton, right? Or people go hard for Starbucks. We're always sharing our Starbucks cup or what have you, or our coffee cup. Like, people want to be a part of something. You want to feel included, right? You want to find your space where you can grow. Or just say like, yeah, I drink coffee, or yeah, I ride the Peloton bike, or yeah, I practice yoga. Every single person wants to be a part of community in some way or another, whether they are able to communicate that or not. And so I want you to find your people. I want you to find your space, whether that's in the Be Free Inner Circle, which is an amazing community to join, because y'all get me as your cheerleader, supporting you and guiding you and cheering for you and holding you accountable and doing all the things. But whatever your interests are, or whatever inner work that you're doing, find your space where you can grow at. Do not, I repeat, do not do this journey alone, because you shouldn't have to. Do you have different groups? What is the age range? That's a great question. So the membership community, the Be Free Inner Circle, that is my main thing, if you will. And the age group varies. So I have some women in their, I think my youngest member may be in her late 20s, I believe. And then I'll also say my youngest member is 64. And so everything in between. So it's a very wide age group. And the beauty of it is that we're all learning and growing from one another. Whether you're in your 20s, you're in your 60s, 30s, 40s, 50s, all of that. Like, we're all able to grow from one another. And everyone is on different paths of their journey, right? So I have some women, and many of the women, who are just getting started on their personal growth journey. So they're learning how to set boundaries. They're learning how to say no. They're learning how to put themselves first. Then I have some women who have been on the journey for a while. And then some women who, like Miss Denise, who she is the epitome. She's 60. She's my youngest member, or more seasoned member, I should say. She's 64, if I'm not mistaken. And she will tell you she's living a very beautiful quality of life, right? And she talks about it all the time. And she is the epitome of like someone who is literally doing the work. And you can see that she's living her best life, just how she shows up. And even when she because we have live chats every single week via Zoom. And even when she's on the screen, like, you can see all of her positive energy, and it's just, it lights you up. And I share that to say everyone is in there to grow from one another. So no matter what no matter where you're at on your journey, you're able to get your cup filled. I'll say it that way. So that's a great question. Thank you for asking. And so the main community is the Be Free Inner Circle, but then I also have small teams, if you will, or small groups within the community. And that helps you connect with other like-minded women who have similar interests. So some of the small groups we have many women in the group who love plants. So we have a group for plant lovers. We also have another group where women can talk about TV shows and music and movies. We have another group if you specifically need more accountability and more support. There's a group for that. And with that particular group, it's a great way to find accountability partners, whether you are looking to work out more, you need someone to hold you accountable to read more. Maybe there's a specific goal that you want someone to work with that. We also have a small group to find your forever friends. And because I talk so much about friendship and community, I have a small group within the community for them to do that, because there are women who are there to make connections and build healthy relationships with one another. So we have about 9 different small groups within the Be Free Inner Circle. And again, everything is designed for everyone to grow, to flourish, for me to cheer them on and to hold them accountable, but then also for them to be surrounded by community. And when I tell you, and I'm trying to think, like, if I may have it here, because I was just on a call this week. Some of the beautiful moments that I've seen thus far is that some women have become pen pals with one another, which I think is so cool. There's 3 ladies in particular who have started a podcast together. There's several women who have become accountability partners. There's several women who have built real friendships inside the group. So they have taken the friendship offline. They travel to see one another. There's many of them who are traveling in for the Be Free Meetup, Sip and Grow, and they will be meeting each other for the first time at my event. There was 2 ladies in the group. I don't know if they're on here, but one lady, she lived in Chicago, moved to Atlanta. She went back home to Chicago, and then she met up with a Chicago member there, and that was their first time meeting, even though they have been connected inside the Be Free Inner Circle. So I'm sharing that to say there are so many women who are building beautiful relationships based on the community that I built for them. And then when it comes to the personal growth work, there are many women. Yeah, it's amazing. Let me tell you, it's mind blowing. And I got my notes here. I'm like, and this is just so many things have changed even since I wrote all this stuff down or whatever. But there's so many women in the community who, again, they are setting healthy boundaries. They are starting their own businesses. They're starting side hustles. They are advancing in their careers. They're going back to school. I mean, I can go on for days and days and days and share all of the amazing things that are happening inside the community. And one of the things that I love most is that, and this is what I keep telling them, I love to see that they are sharing, right? They're sharing very vulnerable moments. They're being transparent. And even on days like my off day when I'm not in there and they're sharing things, they have each other. So they're not dependent on me. Yes, I cultivate the community. Yes, I am in there to hold them accountable and to cheer for them, but they're not dependent on me. They have that community that are basically wrapping their virtual arms around them to support them. And they trust one another. They truly trust each other. And it blows my mind to see women all over the world really connect in such a beautiful way. Because what I understand, and I keep saying this, like, I get that there's a certain level where women who join the Be Free Inner Circle, they trust me, right? You find me here on Instagram, you listen to the podcast, there's a certain level of trust that you have for me. And you'll say, oh, okay, I trust her. I'm going to join the Be Free Inner Circle, right? And you invest with your money. But then you get into the community and you're like, oh, now I'm supposed to trust like all of these women that are also here. It takes time. And so what they're doing is they're doing that. They're trusting me that I've cultivated such an amazing space for them to grow in, such an amazing community, that they trust me enough that they can trust the women in there. So then that way they are not doing this inner work, this personal growth work on their own, but they're doing it with one another. And it's a beautiful sight to see. So I encourage every single person, if you're not already a member, to become a member of the Be Free Inner Circle. It will be, and I promise you, it will be the best decision that you make this year. And just watching how everyone is growing and flourishing and doing their work, and they're a part of this amazing community, I'm beyond grateful that I get to create this experience for them. Yay, Brittany, you'll be at the Be Free Meetup Sip and Grow. Looking forward to seeing you there. So do I have any other questions before I log off? Let me know. But one thing for sure, whether you join the Be Free Inner Circle, find your space, find your community, find your people that you can grow in, right? And I'll say this, even though this wasn't a part of what I was going to say, don't stay in, Siobhan, you going to say this? All right, hold on. I'm going to say it because I mean it. Don't stay in places, situations, relationships, friendships that you know that you've outgrown. Period. If you've outgrown them, why are you there? Right? Why are you there? Because you don't want another year to go. Let's say you don't even want another month, 6 months, a year to go by, and you know that the relationship no longer serves you, right? You know that the friendship, you've outgrown it. Like, find your space. Put yourself first. Take care of yourself, all right? So, do I have any other questions? I'm feeling good, y'all. I'm feeling amazing. Yo, I'm about to sell out this Be Free meetup, yo. I'm like, yes. I'm so excited about that. Just even my friend was like, because I'm watching as the tickets are selling, and she was like, have you ever sold this amount of tickets so quickly? And I'm like, no, I don't think I've sold this amount so quickly. But what I'm realizing, going back to the beauty of community, people are ready. Like, we have been in this pandemic for a year and a half, if you will, a little over a year and a half. And people are ready to connect with human beings. But you don't just want to connect with any and everybody. You want to be around goodness, right? You want to be around good people who you can feel good with. And so watching how the ticket sales are coming in and people who are buying the tickets and they're flying in from all these different states, and then also people here in Ohio, I'm like, yes, I've been ready. So I'm grateful that y'all are ready to join me. And I'm telling you, like, I'm grateful. I'm beyond grateful of how everything is unfolding for me. And I'm excited. I'm so excited. So I encourage you, no matter where you're at, get your ticket for the Be Free Meetup, befreemeetup.eventbrite.com, and meet me there and share the link with someone else. You know, I would love for you to share the link with a friend. And then also, if you cannot attend, sponsor somebody else to go. Like, say what? I'm going to buy this ticket for my friend and I'm going to send her. Do that. Right? Let's support community. Let's support people that you see who are doing amazing things. Let's support one another. Support me. All right. How are you? How am I? How are things with your goals? That's a great question. I am amazing. I feel amazing. My goals, I am right on target for everything that I have been working on this year. And even with the Be Free meetup, like that wasn't something that I knew that I was going to host this year. I was excited to get back to it, but with the pandemic, I had no idea. But because of the requests kept coming for me to host an event, I'm like, oh, absolutely. And so now being able to add this one, and I have some more scheduled coming up as well, I'm excited. And then the growth of the Be Free Inner Circle and being hired to speak, like, listen, life is good. Life is amazing. So thank you. Thank you for asking. That's a great question. Like, I'm living my best life. And I love, 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 love the woman that I'm becoming. Like, this is the best I felt like, and I will say this, and I was just sharing this with a friend, and this has nothing to do about the beauty of community, but because you asked me that question and this is coming top of mind, like, as you're doing the personal growth work and as you're becoming, it is uncomfortable, right? So there are spaces in my life, where it's uncomfortable. Like, growth does not feel good. I'll tell you that. Oh, I need to do a podcast on that. That just hit me. See what I'm saying? I just be talking. I'm like, oh, I got to do something. Because growth is uncomfortable. However, I got to write that down so I don't forget. However, it's worth it. It is so, so worth it. And it to be on the other side of so much of this work and a work that I'm doing, and then even thinking about the future version of myself and how I want to show up, like, becoming more of myself feels good. So thank you for asking that question. And I like your name, Wounded Healer. Okay. Yay, Keisha. Yeah, you were like the first person. I meant to say this in a Be Free Inner Circle. You were the first person to buy your ticket. And I'm like, come on, Keisha. It was like 12:05 a.m. I'm like, first of all, what you doing up at 12:05? But you was like, you know what? And you're in Jersey. You're like, I am coming from Jersey and I'm going to be in the building. And I know you've been wanting to attend a Be Free meetup for a long time. So you're like, listen. So when I saw that, I didn't see it at midnight, but when I saw it the next day, I'm like, come on, Keisha. Yes, listen, it's going to be fire. It's going to be so, so good. I cannot wait to meet you in real life. And Keisha and I share so many similar interests, from the love of coffee, from the love of music. So I'm excited to hug you in real life. It's going to be awesome. Yeah, you were on it. You were on it. I was like, all right, Keisha, up at midnight. I got you. Yes, I am the community cultivator. Listen, I feel it through and through. It is the perfect title for me, Ashley. And how are you today? But this is the thing. Yes. So I want to say that because some people say, oh, I can't attend. This is happening. Sponsor someone else to come to my event. You can do that, right? There are plenty of women who want to attend, and maybe it's not in their budget or what have you, but maybe it's in your budget and you can sponsor another woman to attend. So if you would, when you do that, just shoot me a DM and let me know. Once you buy the ticket, say, hey, I want you to give this ticket away to someone who needs to be in the room. And I would be more than grateful for that. All right, y'all, I am done for today. I'm feeling amazing. I got some more work that I'm going to do, and enjoy this weekend, y'all. Again, you can learn all the things about me at BeFreeProject.com. And again, as it relates to community, I created an amazing resource called How to Find Your Forever Friends. So if you're someone who is looking to find your community, looking to find the right friends for you, there's some inner work that I need you to do first. And so you can download the free resource, the how-to guide to finding your forever friends. That link is in the show notes. I hope y'all have the most amazing weekend. Thank you for joining me today, and I will see you later.